I am still basking in the afterglow of that amazing thrift store find I made a few months ago that I shared here on the channel. And so far I've covered several of the things from it. We had stuff like that Bolatronic, there was a Tomy Caveman, even a Packery Monster from Bandai. But in this video I'm catching up on another one of those scores that I had that we've not yet talked about. This is a 1981 Mattel Electronics Starhawk. This is outer space flight sim combat from the first person out your cockpit view. I'm gonna take a look at it right after this.
This video brought to you in part by Tommy and the Order of Cosmic Champions. This exciting and heartwarming coming-of-age Gen X novel is available now. Check the link for more info.
Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John and I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for taking the time to click on this video. Going thrifting on the weekends is a regular hobby that I enjoy, and I like to go and look for, I think of it as electronics that other people just think are junk, right? They're not looking for them or interested, and I see them and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I remember it but never touched one before. So when I found this haul, including this Mattel Starhawk, I was excited to check it out. It says it works, which, by the way, no spoiler, I've tested it. It does work, although it has seen better days in the battery department. We'll talk about that. This one, they have rare on it. You'll see the tag. I think I paid 35 bucks for it. I'm not sure it's that rare. That's kind of the fair going price, I think, for this Starhawk. But the more I play it, the more I realize the value of this game and how they packed in some early concepts that maybe weren't so obvious to home game players, certainly not home handheld game players. Let's go check it out. And here he is, 1981 Mattel Electronics Starhawk. And this is exactly as I got it. Nothing else included. No box, no manual, no nothing. I mentioned, $35 is what it was going for. And they say rare on there. I went looking on eBay, and look, a broken one runs 12, 15 bucks. A good working one runs, 35 to 50 or so in this condition, which, by the way, the condition, this might be the best condition of any of the units I picked up in that haul some months ago. It's just a little grimy. Like you can see here in the corner of the window, it's kind of grungy and yucky from years and years of just general grime. But overall, it is just that's it, a little dirty. That's all that it is. So we're gonna clean it up some, and as I mentioned, it does work. So what this ended up being is an incredible value for $35 because it said it worked, they said it worked, but you never know until you get it home. So it does work fine. It looks like it's had maybe a little restoration worked on it before, and I'll show you what I mean. Flipping it around to the back, other than just some light scrapes, we're going to give it a general wipe down. Luckily, nothing really problematic. It still has the sticker here that so many of these old electronics, in case you lost the manual, which as the case here, there's at least an overview of how to play the game. Because look, you couldn't just go to the internet and look it up in the 80s, right? You had to go, I don't know how to play. So there's something here that gives you an idea. The battery box is the part that maybe had a little bit of a rough life. And it's also the part that gave me the most pause when they said it worked. And that is, look, you can see, look at the greening. Like you can see a history of corrosion in here. But also, I think a history of cleanup as well. So these contacts are kind of cleaned up a bit, despite the fact that they're residual, results of someone allowing batteries to corrode in here. It still works. So we're going to blow this out. We'll get out as much debris as we can. But the good news is it is going to work. Before we take a tour of this little Starhawk and take a peek in the manual for just kind of what insights we can glean, let's give it a once over and see if we can't tidy it up a little. All right, that looks quite nice, and lucky for us, it wasn't in very bad shape to begin with. It was just
decades of grime is all it was, so pretty easy job. Let's go ahead and take a quick tour of the hardware then. Down here on the lower left, we have a power on-off switch, which does exactly what you would expect it does. Then across here, then you have the controls, and weird control layout. Better look in a second, but you have the joystick here, and then you have a fire button. And these, you'll use this one once at the end of the game, actually, in the game. And then you have this guy, which will toggle between your altitude and score. And what's odd about these controls is that when you're holding the game in your hand, the joystick is here and the button is way over here, which means you kind of have to play it like this, which is, or, set it down on the table, of course, and play it. But for a handheld, you would think, like, why would you put the power here and all three of these buttons over here? Would that just make more sense? I guess, but this is how they did it. Now up here, of course, we have the VFD screen, and you can see all the little jets. And so pretty much everything in this screen is both a jet and the dot, which represents the thruster that comes out the back of the jet. And so those dots are used to show, as you'll see in a second, the horizon line and the runway, or it's part of the jet when it's lit up. So it's really just a VFD full of these little jets in various attitudes, either from below or from above, coming in or on the side. And pretty creative. It's kind of a shotgun approach, but I think you'll see it pretty well works. Now, before we throw batteries in this thing and give it a play, which is actually quite enjoyable, I want to take a minute to look at the manual. Now, I don't have the manual. I downloaded the PDF. So here it is on the screen. And there are a couple of things in it that kind of resonate with me as like, oh, I guess you did have to explain that to people in 1981. Now, if you scroll down here just a little bit past the introduction, how to put in batteries, which we're going to do in a second, there's an overview of the device, which we talked about. The fire button is just for firing and starting. The score is for skill level. And one time in the whole game, you use the land button. That's actually how you get a score, which we'll talk about in a second when we play it. And so then it goes into controls, which seemed odd to me that they were so specific. But then it occurred to me, how frequently had we played games at this point where you were looking out the cockpit? So you had to explain that, well, neutral is you're just flying on the horizon. Forward you dive, you turn right and the horizon tilts. To explain that in a plane, forward is down and back is up, and how to bank and climb and all those things. So they really literally laid out every combination or direction of the stick and what it would do to your vehicle. And then down here, where you are and where you're going. It explains in bold uppercase, your point of view is through the cockpit window. And it's explaining what you're seeing. The numbers on the right are the altitude, and then, overview of the thing. Then it talks about, how you can crash, or you can be chaff up in the air, that flak that they throw at you. And note that the altitude is not feet, miles. This is outer space combat. So you're at sometimes 99,000 miles above the surface. That's truly outer space combat. That's like almost onto another planet. Well, maybe not, but it's pretty far. And it kind of shows you the overview of, where you can fly and what kind of things you're going to encounter. And then here they just talk about the time factor, that you have about 4 minutes to play before you run out of fuel and you have to land to get your score. But I just thought it was really interesting that in a game that was from 81, the manual really had to explain what it's like to fly a plane, because most people hadn't, and kind of had to explain that you were looking through the cockpit, that you didn't see your plane, or the user would think they're controlling some element on the screen, because you're not. You're inside the screen. So now that we have it all cleaned up and we know what we're doing, why don't we go ahead and throw some batteries in this thing and give it a play.
As I'm throwing batteries in this Starhawk to play, I just want to remind you of our store over at GenXGrownUp.com/merch. You can get cool original designs of our logo or other pop culture or video game iconography, and you get it printed on hats and shirts and mugs and stickers and pins and tees. Not only will you get the thing that you ordered, but also every dollar you spend goes to support independent content creation, just like these videos here on Gen X Grown Up. All right, batteries are in. Let's go play.
And here's what we're greeted to when we power it on, and you can just see kind of the runway, and you can see the horizon there. And I'm going to zoom in on the screen in a second, but I wanted to show you again just how weird it is. Like, I can push fire to start. How weird it is, you can't really reach here. You kind of have to hold underneath to play, which is what we're going to do. So, all right, well, let's zoom in on the screen and take a closer look. Now, I've adjusted the light pretty dramatically here so you can get a better view of this screen. I have the controls right down here, of course. And at the start, what you're seeing is the horizon and your runway. And if you tap the score button, you can see it's going to step through the different skill levels, 2, 3, just makes it more difficult, more aggressive, and challenging. And to start the game, you press the fire button, which starts your little journey down the runway. And away we go. And at this point, you can't touch the fire button or this stick until the runway disappears like this. And then you start to climb, and now this represents altitude. And remember that altitude is thousands of miles in the air. Now, the first thing you want to do is get over 16,000, because under 16,000, if you get hit by that flak, you'll fall. In fact, you fall 16,000 miles. So it's quite a ways. And you can see a little reticle there. That reticle is actually a bit of raised plastic on the screen. It's not a print. And when the little jet is in that reticle, you hit the fire button and you blast one. Now, they're smart enough that, see how you can lean? Oh, got one. They're smart enough that if you fire in their vicinity and miss, they're going to get smarter. So it's in your interest to not just rapid fire. Wait until he's in the crosshairs, like I didn't do there. Got him. And you can tap score anytime to see I've taken down 2 jets. Well, let's keep going. Now, it says the best fighting is up above like 50 to 75,000 feet or something. And you get about 4 minutes to play. After that, there's going to be a meter on the side that tells me I'm 1 minute left and I need to land. You don't even finish the game until you land. You don't even get, your score doesn't count, is what they say. But this is a simulator where you have to consider not only how do you navigate a jet, but also what navigating that jet means and is a mission and you're a guy, and kind of added a little bit of depth into it. I think you can see the outline of the VFD that's not lit up and how beautiful it is when it is lit up. It just glows. Oh, so if you see, that's flak. Those little squares that light up, you might see one in a moment here. If those are anywhere in the vicinity of your little reticle, you will fall. You can hear the sounds, kind of a rah, rah. So let me hold still for a minute. Maybe you'll see that flak hit. It's just a little square of blinking dots. Let's keep an eye out for it. Oh, there was flak over on the side there, if you saw. Those little flashes. Oh, there we go. There's the 3-minute warning. It tells me that I'm almost out of fuel, so I need to get below the 10,000 mile barrier in order to claim my score. And that meter is going to get lower and lower. Got a ways to go. Maybe I should have headed down sooner. Oh no, 1 dot. Oh no, we're going to run out of fuel. That's the danger of being up so high. And we crashed because we ran out of fuel. Oh man, okay. So I'm going to bump it up to level 4 just so we can see how different that is. So let me hit the fire button. This will be it. Now don't touch anything while it's taking off. The runway disappears, you're clear. And right away you want to get above 16,000 because that's what flak will do if it hits you. Okay, so now we're above. So you have to keep in mind, though, when we come down to claim our score next time. Because effectively, that was a non-game. You know, you flew, but you didn't get to claim your score. Jets are definitely moving faster now. Harder to get them in the sights, I'm noticing. Really zipping around. Those planes just don't sit there long enough to get shot. Oh, there we go. So I hit some chaff and I fell. But I was above 16,000, so I only fell down to 9. So again, I want to get higher. It's a good example of how tough this game can be. I got one at least. I had to catch him flying through. Come here, plane. Oh, almost. Wow. Got a second one. Check my score, 2. Yep. In this version, this level, you almost have to anticipate when the jet's going to be in front of you. Because by the time you see it there, it's too late. Oh, that was the flak hit me. But again, I only fell the 16,000 that it said. So again, right away, you want to get above those levels. Because if you get hit by flak below 16, well, guess what you hit? The ground. Oh, that's 3? Yeah, 3. 4. All right, getting a little better. This is more like a real dogfight. Feel like we're probably about to get our warning. And I'm not going to explode in the air this time when I'm out of fuel. I'm going to actually land. There we go. I'm doing it now. So I could try to get some more points, but I'm going to get down, just get below 10,000 miles, hit that land button. Maybe don't want to get my flak while I'm at it. Just kind of changing my path. There we go. Under 10, hit the land button. Tells me my score. Ta-da! We did it. Score 5 on level 4. Not bad really. This is really a cool little game that I didn't expect much out of it when I first looked at it, but the more I played it, the cooler it was.
Odd controller layout notwithstanding, this 1981 Starhawk gives a surprisingly good simulation of aerial combat, be it, in the sky or in the space, thousands of miles up, like this one is. I mean, not only do you have, the moving up and down, but they even simulated the horizon tilting in a way that I wouldn't expect from a VFD game like this. And I think that alone makes it pretty interesting. Look, I always continue to look for cool new handheld gadgets like this from decades ago. And if you enjoy them, I'll post links to a few more here and here that you can check out right now. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.